Welcome to Generous Impact. This is Bret Brummett.
And this is Amanda Brummett. We're joined today by Gaby Marin, a software developer and passionate advocate for bringing more women into tech. Gaby has built her career at companies like IBM and Apex FinTech Solutions while mentoring the next generation of women engineers and creating projects that blend technology with real-world impact. In this episode, you'll hear about her journey into tech, the barriers women still face, and how we can all be part of creating a more inclusive future for the industry. Hey, Gaby, thanks for making time for us today. We know how busy you are, and so we appreciate you. It's also fun to see you not in running gear.
I was going to say, I'm like, you guys are my favorite people. And I was telling one of my coworkers yesterday, like I turned our run into a yap session because I hadn't seen Bret in a week. And I was like, he's got all this minor drama to catch up on.
I heard about a little bit of it, mostly about the summer I turned pretty, which, it's fine.
Which
I can publicly admit.
And I was like, this is my legacy, is the summer I turned pretty in the office. That's, yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Well, let's start by you just telling us who you are, both personally and professionally.
Professionally, I am a software dev too. I work at this place called Apex FinTech Solutions, and we democratize investing for everybody. So like our goal is to make investing accessible not just to higher net worth individuals, but anyone who's got like $10 in their pocket. So I'm excited to work at a company where, you get to do good. And it's also a very modern company. So I'm excited to like learn about the more modern tech stack that we have. And they're pretty progressive with AI. So I'm also getting to see the cutting edge of that. And then professionally, it kind of, I think, goes against the stereotypes of what a computer scientist is, where I enjoy running and I run with Bret and I enjoy the outdoors and I love talking and being around people. And then of course there's like the side of like, I love being with my family and I love being with my friends. And I try to get you guys to come over for dinners and you guys complain about the distance.
But we come because the food is good and the company's great.
I know, I was going to say it's the South versus North Austin divide that we struggle with. But yeah, like professionally, I'm a computer scientist and I love learning. And that is just a joy that I take into like all of my hobbies.
Yeah. And then you went to U of H? Is that where you studied?
Yes. Yeah. I studied at U of H. Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. And do you have a fabulous husband? Do you have some cool dogs?
Oh, yeah. I guess we could. Yeah, I met my husband at U of H. I actually was like helping him with a class that I had taken before. And I was
what?
And it ended up, he got caught out because I would write the algorithms on pink paper because I was also an RA at the time. And so I just had like colorful construction paper. And his dad was like, why are you doing your math homework on pink paper? This is not like you. And so, yeah, we met that way. And then we adopted Boogie, who is a Shorkie, and he's like 10 pounds. And then right before our wedding, he saw this very cute dog in a shelter, and we adopted 90-pound Belgian Malinois. So, yeah.
Nice. I did not know that you met him tutoring. That's awesome.
I know. I try to keep it on the down low,
Yeah, well, and don't bypass like the strange hobbies, like because every now and then you come back with like, hey, I'm going to go take like a knife whittling skills, like trapping wild game in the woods class.
Okay, I said I enjoy nature. Okay,
yeah, I know, but that's very glossing over the depth.
Yeah. Okay. Well, also, okay. Well, my husband loves new skills, and he does love, I don't know how to describe it. Like he's very nerdy, Lord of the Rings kind of stuff, and I try to find things that we can do together where he gets to like get into those enjoyments and skills and I get to have fun. So like sometimes we take like a knife smithing class, or for nature stuff. Yeah, I was like, I want to learn how to hunt ethically. And so I started. And then also so growing up, my brother, he was in Boy Scouts and we sometimes got to tag along, and I thought it was so much more fun than what the Girl Scouts in my area did. I know some Girl Scout troops are
Same where I grew up. I sold a lot of cookies, but I never got to do all the cool stuff except when I tagged along with my brother.
Yeah, like some of 'em have more of the nature skills, but the ones, at least when I was growing up, it was very much just, like, sales focused. And so there is a group in Austin that it's, like, adults, like, male and female Boy Scouts, and you, like, learn how to, like, start a fire with just, 2 sticks and how to, like, lay a trap, and it just yeah, it seemed fun, and I did it, and I got badges, which is even more fun.
Knowing you, I know that that was a big accomplishment to have the badges and maybe a home display. All right. Well, let's dive. I'll take you off the hot stool for a second.
Yeah.
Um, Now I want to know like what first drew you into tech? Like, was it just part of your curriculum? Was there a person, a program? Like, what was that? What's this? Is this for me?
I think and I do credit my dad with this, where he worked in tech my whole life, and at first I was rebellious and I was like, "No, I really like economics. I liked the math of it. I liked the problem solving of it." And I tried it and I just didn't like what I saw in the careers in terms of just what was available and what you had to do. And so then I came back to Houston because I originally, like, went to Virginia, William& and Mary, and I was like, "You know what? I'll just try a class." What is there to hurt? There's, like, one intro class, and it was partially because my dad did tech, and I was like, he keeps pushing me into it, well, I might as well try, you know? And then the second part of that is that class was taught by this woman named Tamar Solario, and I love what she did, which is she changed that intro computer science class. It wasn't even called, like, intro to computer science. It was, like, intro to computational thinking, and it was because she had done a study that said that women, they tend to avoid things that are very, like, computer science branded or focused because there was this, like, gender bias of, like, "Oh, women aren't as good," or they feel excluded. So she changed, like, the terminology in order to get more women, and then also changed how that class was structured, and she made it so accessible and welcoming and was super, super supportive, and I was like, "Okay, like, I think I can do this." Like, I read that textbook front to back. I like it. I like the problem solving of it. I like the opportunities that I could do. Why not just keep going?
That is so like I think I needed that. Like maybe I have a women's sensibility because when they tried to get me to go into it, I like took the one class and I'm like,
Yeah.
this internet thing's a fad. I don't want to do this. I'll work with people, which ages me for sure. But like if it had been that, you know, set up, that sounds really cool.
That maybe
Yeah.
you'd be a woman in tech now, Brett?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do the most mansplaining thing in the world and put myself in your role and take over and dominate.
No, but I mean, it was more accessible, not just for women, because also, like, I forgot to mention that I had never coded or done anything computer science related until I got into that class. And part of what was so helpful about the way that she structured it is that she basically made everyone start from 0, which kind of also is a huge confidence booster because the people who came in who had coding experience were like, "Psh, I know this, whatever, like, I'm not gonna study." And I was like, "I know nothing." And I studied my butt off and I ended up, like, doing much better because I didn't take it as a joke. And so the way that starting from 0, her not assuming like, "Oh, like, if you're here, it's because you're so into computer science, and so I'm just gonna start at this high level," like, I think it worked for a lot of people who had never had computer, because one of my main best friends that I met in that class was a guy, and it was the same experience where he stayed because he was like, "Wait, this is really well structured and it's very accessible," and it was enjoyable.
Yeah. Does she know that she was a turning point for you?
Oh, I told her, like, every day. I love her so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay, we often hear about that we need more women in tech. And what what is it? Why do we need more women in tech? Why does it matter? Why is it a problem?
I think with everything, you need a balance, and I think it's inherently in our society the way that we communicate. that there's gonna be different ideas, so, like, if you're a woman or you're a man, and not to say that, like, one is better than the other, but the different perspectives, and also just the types of questions you ask, like, your experience influences the type of questions you ask, and I feel like that's very, very important in software because you think it's just about or some people can think it's just about, like, the code that you write, but it's so much more in terms of, like, "Okay, I want to write this, but let's think about maybe the junior that's gonna read this code. Is it understandable to them?" Like, you're writing a novel, and then you also have to think, "Okay, how is flow working? Like, does this make sense to the user that's gonna use it?" And the ability to have more voices in the conversation and different perspectives is the best. Like, you want different perspectives because then you catch things that you wouldn't normally. And also, it's a great career, it's a stable career, and I want women to have that. Like, I think they also deserve to have, well-paying jobs and they get to do whatever they want, and, I get to work remotely from any country should I want to. Like, I want every woman to have that flexibility. That sounds enjoyable, so, yeah.
Is that, I mean, from that idea of flexibility and wanting that for other women and opening the doors, and I've never heard anyone talk about, code as being something for, a downstream person. I mean, so that sounds really cool all of a sudden. I mean, what are the effective ways? Is it more about the job and the career, about what they can create? Like, what are those ways to bring more women into tech?
To bring more women into tech, I think, is a really hard answer besides, I think, what a lot of people are doing now, which is we have these organizations like in Austin, we have Austin Women in Technology. There are some like Latinas in tech. It's creating those spaces of affirmation. And then also, I think just things like this where I want to like repeat and say, if your experience isn't great, let's say at the college level, like mine wasn't, that's okay because it's not always gonna be that way. Like, my college experience, I nearly switched majors, like, 5 times, and it was other women who told me, like, like, "You're almost done, it's okay, like, the job world will be different, it's fine," and I pushed through, and my current job, like, I do work with all men, and they're the loveliest people ever, and I adore them, and it's completely different than how it felt in the moments.
You mentioned, a great inspiration into tech in college, the introduction, and then all the way to career, but like having to persevere through that and maybe wanting to change majors. Like, what were those hurdles that you had to like stay? I want to stay on course. I maybe don't want to stay on course because I'm sure everyone going through that has similar experiences. So, what were those pivotal areas that maybe would have taken you off track that you've persevered through?
It was a lot of harassment and a misunderstanding. Like, I wanted to be friends with everybody, so I'd be extremely friendly, and I would get these extremely I don't even know how to describe it, like, the moments, like, I would, like, say, "Oh, hey, like, let's study together." Like, "I want to study and, like, do well in this class," and they interpreted that as, like, a come on, and so then I would get all these messages of, like, comments on my body or comments on what they want to do together. I just say it politely. And I would just be like, "No, that's not what I want. I just wanted to study, I just wanna do well in this class." And it was pretty persistent, and it was hard, and I didn't want to deal with it, but I also felt so stuck because I had really liked what I was learning. And so at least my school was like, "Okay, we'll get you emergency counseling," and also part of what I did was I sought friends outside of my major because, when you're in college, you're mostly spending time with people in your classes. Whenever I had an extracurricular, I would, like, look at the crowd and be like, "Okay, that person looks nice," and I would try to make friends with them, and that helped me to be like, "Okay, like, just because this world is not the best doesn't mean everybody's like that."
And this was a experience that was more prevalent and unique to your major. Is that kind of when you were in it, how you felt? Or do you think it actually is just generally pervasive? And I'm not trying to minimize the tech part. I just want to know, like, your experience, like different crowds, different populations.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, to be honest. The
And you
friends
don't have to. You only live one experience.
I
You don't have to know about the ones you didn't live.
Are you asking if you put enough men together, are they eventually gonna harass you? Is that what you're asking, Brett?
Well, I'm going to say that probably yes, enough situations you'll probably encounter it more. I'm also trying to get into, is this the accidental stereotype of, you know, coding tech men in a bubble that never see women, and one shows up and all of a sudden they just can't like understand how to interact.
and that's why I brought up the working world because, like, my team is mainly men, my manager is male, and they are the sweetest people on this earth, and I think it was just a a bad class, possibly, you know? Like, but that's not true of all of them. Like, one of my best friends, that was a few of the men. That wasn't the entire class. Like,
And
I
to and when it happens, one can feel like an overwhelming amount.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it
recurring
was
numbers of a few make everything feel cataclysmic, and they ruin it for everybody.
one guy would, like, follow me to my car, and I would have to, like, you know but again, it's about, like, that made it feel so scary because I was like, yes, like, one of my or the main guy that I studied with, his name was John, like, he was my angel, and, like, he would basically protect me and, like, be my bodyguard, and then if I was gonna go to the computer science lab, like, I made sure he was there, and but, like, he couldn't prevent that, right? Like, I would be like, "Okay," like, I'd lie and be like, "Yeah, John's gonna be here soon," because I was single and I, like, hadn't they respected that if I had a boyfriend, but not if I was single. But they would still, like he would follow the one guy would follow me to my car, and I'd be like I felt very unsafe, and it was just yeah, I think it was just a bad ti and again, it did not help that I was trying to be too friendly with everybody, I feel like, and I should have put more boundaries.
It's not your fault, Gabby.
Okay,
It's not your
I
fault.
know, I knew you were gonna
I'm
say that.
sorry that that happened to you, and it's not your fault.
Yeah. I guess wanna say, like, the point of that was not men are terrible, the point is, if that happens to you, it's not you, and it's not always like that, and it could just be that group, and if you truly enjoy what you're learning, stick with it. Even if it means like what I did, which is 90% of the time, I either would bring a friend of mine from like a different just like a female friend of mine with me to the computer science lab, like I was never alone, or go study somewhere else, or, like, just find ways to make it bearable for you. Unless you really can't take it, then leave. Like, your happiness is worth it, but
Yeah.
if you really love what you're learning, which I did, it'll get better. I promise, I promise.
Yeah. Okay, so big barrier, dirt balls.
Yeah.
What are the other things that are either keeping women from going into tech or making them change industries? What practices need to change?
So the big barriers to me at my time was the perception of who it was for. Like Big Bang Theory,
Mhm.
who were all the smart people? It was like the men. And they were the ones yeah, right? Like, it was this, like, media perception of, like, who it belonged to. You don't hear, like, the generic phrase, like, "tech girl" or "it's tech bro,"
Right,
like, that's, like, the standard. It's a lot
right.
of social perception, and that's part of why if you're a woman in tech and you feel like you can stay, I think you should, because then you're changing that perception, and you could be the reason that somebody knows, or somebody knows that it's okay and it can happen, and they have someone to go to. Another thing that one of my coworkers has changed and I really adore is she teaches younger women computer science, and she does it on a volunteer basis because there is like, at my school, we had a computer science class, quote, unquote, and it was an all-girls high school, and it was a typing class, basically. Like, we just learned how to speed type.
Seriously?
Mhm.
Not like girls who code. It was just
No.
typing.
Yeah, and that was a private school, and then eventually we did get a computer science teacher, but she was more video game focused, so we just learned how to use a software to, like, make video game stuff, but not necessarily, like, any computational or computer science theories, or, like, learn how to code. So having those good programs, whether it be, you know, you send your kid to a school or the kid wants to go to that school, or just be the person who volunteers and start the program or be part of the program.
That's great advice. Just be the person, make the program. Gabby, is there anything else that we need to do to remove barriers or get women to want to stay in tech?
I think community is the main thing. Community has been
Yeah.
what's been getting me by. And then also just making part of I think what helped me was intentionally building a community outside of computer science.
Mm.
So like I said, like those extracurriculars, two of my best friends come out of there and I talk to them and I'm like, this happened and they'll be like, yeah, no, that's awful. And I'm like, oh, that is, like, it's this validation of what it should and shouldn't be.
For sure. It can be very powerful to have somebody help us know that something isn't in our head, is not okay, and just help us process that.
All right. Well, with looking at different leaders, examples, and building the communities where you see other women in tech, I mean, is that where you would like to leave your legacy in tech? Like, how, how do you look at like your role today, future women in tech, and helping bring that along to what it'll be, 5, 10 years from now in your career?
My goal for my legacy is not necessarily for women in tech, but I have a huge joy that derives from helping younger devs. And one of my favorite things is literally helping people at work, whether it be with code or with like solving a problem. And I hope that my legacy leads in there are people who remember, like, yeah, Gabby taught me that. And Gabby helped me. And she's the reason that like I'm good at this like structure. I know how to architect, or she helped me get the opportunity that I wanted because she helped me build skills. As you guys know, like I love planning. And if anyone asks, like I will make a 50-step plan for you to achieve any dream that you have.
Well, and also I've heard you say before, like, "Ugh, this person keeps making mistakes. Maybe we should maybe help them, teach them how to do this instead of just complaining about it," which
Yeah.
somehow is a rarity in the workplace.
Yeah, because I was that person and I didn't have someone to help me. And it was so frustrating because I didn't know, I had like one person in my first job, my first like adult job. It was me and one other person, and they were rightfully slammed in stress. But I needed to know what commands to run and how to set up the app. Like there was no documentation and they were too busy. And then they would be very insulting. And that was really difficult for me because then I internalized it. And I don't want that experience for other people. And I hope not only do like they don't just say like, "Oh, Gabby did this." I hope it other people see it and then they start doing it too because I really do enjoy like a team that helps each other, gives credit to each other, like uplifts each other, and I will take any time out of my day, you know, if even if it's not a dev. Like I met with a couple intern PMs this summer because they wanted advice about what it felt like. And I just, imposter syndrome. And I just told them like it's normal. It's fine. It's not gonna go away. It's just how it is. But just think like of the person like think of someone else. Do they feel like that maybe? Probably not. And if you apply and you get it, they think you deserve it. And jobs aren't charity cases. So it must mean something. So my legacy is that, is like more confidence in people and building environments that are uplifting and supportive and joyful is what I really, really hope for.
Yeah. That is a beautiful legacy, both in tech, but also outside of it. Like I hear you talking about that, and there weren't very many women healthcare executives when I was, in my 20s. And it would have been so cool to have another woman take me under their wing and like, do this, don't do that, do
Mhm.
this. Yeah. So thank you for all the next
No,
ladies out there.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, but I'll get there. I'm working on it.
So, what is next for you, both in your career and as well as, in advocating for other young folks?
Oh my gosh, my biggest dream is to have more time because I want to open up a chapter of like code girls who code in Austin. I think that would be so cool.
Wait, we don't have one?
There's like variations, but the specific program that I adore is in here. It's
Yeah.
Minnesota based. And or I'm sorry, not Minnesota, Montana. And I think it's the coolest thing ever, and the opportunities it provides, like, it's so love and I love actually because I was on one of their podcasts, and I love that it doesn't just lead women into tech. One girl was doing it, and she liked the problem solving of it, but she didn't like the coding, and it helped her realize that she wanted to be more of, like, a PM or just, like, an organizing, like, management part and is not gonna do tech. Like, I love that it also gives, like, early experience to figure out what you want so that you're not in college building up debt, and then you're like, "Whoops, I hate this," you know?
Yeah.
So, I really would hope to bring that once I have, like, a second more time. I also have dreams of just, like, building fun stuff. I mean, Brett knows that, Gilbert, our run coach, he uses GMAT pedometer. It's awful trying to get that on your watch, and so I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna build a website, and it's gonna make it easier." And I've been, like, teasing it forever, and I just need to, host it so everyone can use it. But just stuff like that to make people's, like, life easier, and then also just this goal of, starting something of my own would be really cool. I also really enjoy when I care about something, becoming good at it. So my main goal for this year is I'm trying to develop senior like qualities and really become a leader. And past that, whatever strikes my interest, I will try to be my best at, I think.
Love to actually get to test out the watch running.
I
And
know.
I like that you're wanting to build things. I mean, you did mention like you need time. Like, is that is it is work all consuming? What are those time barriers for you?
Okay, time barriers for me is it's learning. And when I learn, I'm a little like all encompassing. So part of that is like at my main job, I'm a front end developer. But I've always really wanted to learn full stack because my first job experience, I didn't get much of it, but it's something like in technology, you have front end, you have back end, and you have full stack, which is front end and back end. I've always wanted to do that. So part of that is like I'm doing my main job and making sure I'm like learning the structure of front end development and learning it really well so that I can provide like good guidance. But then another thing is I've always wanted to learn back end. So I've been trying to work with the back end team that I collaborate with my application on. Marathon training has been absolutely murdering me. So that's a lot of time. And then of course, like to me, when I say time, like I obviously prioritize like my family. So I have a lot of little ones that I like to spend time with and help out with, so they do take up time that I'm unwilling to give up because I adore them, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know everyone's got to enjoy having someone that's learning more about their job, going through there. I mean, as you do that, you're continuing to inspire others, even in the workplace and in your running crew, and probably your other friends and your nieces and nephews and all the ones you like to hang out with. But are there other organizations that you're finding inspiring today or other people that you continue to find inspiring?
there's actually a community I found recently. I mean, of course, there's, like, the Girls Who Code that I mentioned. I think what they do, like, teaching younger women is amazing. One in particular, like, we all know in the moment that we're speaking that the tech market is pretty brutal to find new jobs, and one of my friends told me about this community called Leopard. And I find it to be just in a sense of, like I said, community and what I value in uplifting, it is amazing. Like everyone is in there trying to help each other. It's a women focused group and they're like, "Hey, I need to learn about system design interviews." And five people immediately are like, "I use this book, I use this course, I can study with you this time, I can practice with you." Like I love it. It makes me feel settled. Like, I'm like, "Okay, like, I have these people don't know me, but I know that there are other women in tech who will support me, and I love being a part of that group."
Those organizations sound amazing, Gabby. What about any specific people that inspire you?
I'm gonna call her out because I talk about her so much, but Amy Moore at my job is just this, like, force to be reckoned with, and I highly credit her and my boss, Augusto, with, like, really driving my improvement. Like, they do not hold back. And they say it in kind ways, but they're like, "Listen, like, this part of your job is weak. And they never say it in a way that makes me feel bad about myself, but in a way that they're like, we want you to be better. This is what you need to be better. And to me, that's amazing. And then also there's a guy at work called Corbin, and he meets with me monthly to like be like, hey, you could be doing this to help like build up your application to become senior, or here's the reality of the situation and why this most likely won't happen. And I value honesty so much, and I thoroughly enjoy this like honest without brutality. And they're in positions of like influence and leadership, and so I'm like, okay, you can be at that level, and they're showing me you can do it in a way that's like kind. And then, of course, like, our whole team is managed by a woman named Kathy, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever not that I've had a huge, long career, but she's one of the only people I know in, like, an engineering director position. And then also, if we wanna talk about just, like, all the people who've not inspired me, but even just helped me, this woman, Heather, is the reason I got a cybersecurity internship. She gave me a shot. She was like, "Okay, like, you can have the interview, but it's up to you after that." And like, just this yeah, those are the people in particular I adore, but again, it goes back to just, like, the community and communities that people develop, and one in particular was Leopard. But yeah,
Gabby, that is so heartwarming that you've had all of those humans touch your path intentionally, and that's just really cool.
thank you. It's really fun.
All right. What can we as a community do to continue supporting you or supporting other women who are entering and growing in the tech industry?
I think that is so, to be, I guess, repetitive in my words, personal to the person. So, as Brett knows, I am an external processor, so it's a lot of just listening and me being like, "This is awful," or "I'm so stressed," or "I don't know what to do," and he's just there like, "Mhm." And I think I probably repeat myself like 50 million times, and he's very rarely indicated that that is the truth.
Amanda knows that I don't hear well, so I need you to repeat it like 3 times before I ever know.
Perfect.
I've also always said he was born to be a girl dad, but maybe he was actually born to be a girl dad and then your running partner.
Yeah, see, like, right, just any female running partner, like, like, it's just the support, and that's for me, but, like, different women need different things, so I would say just look at the woman in your life who does want to be in tech, ask them what they need, and just, be there for them. And if it's one of the biggest things actually that helped was my husband, when I was struggling with a job that I had because the environment wasn't the best, was he did a couple of my first applications for me and just got me started because I was just too overwhelmed and stressed to do it. And that wasn't like listening in terms of just like listening to an event. He took action because he saw that I was struggling to take action. Maybe that's the like woman in your life that you need someone just to take action for you, like push you to do that application, or, set the interview up for you and then be like, show up. So just look and ask what they need. And if you see that they need something and they're not asking for it, maybe like try to do it anyways. I think would be my biggest recommendation. And if they're younger, enroll them in opportunities. There's plenty of free opportunities. There's so many like YouTube videos of like build this, there's so many like online code IDs that are free. So it's pretty much free to start coding. So just provide them the chance, I would say.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Generous Impact. Gabby, thank you for sharing so openly about your journey, both the challenges you've faced and the community and mentors who've helped you keep going. You reminded us that representation in tech isn't just about getting more women in the door, it's about helping them stay, thrive, and lead. Thank you for joining us on Generous Impact. We'll be back soon with more conversations with people who are creating positive change in their communities. Until then, keep showing up generously in your own community.